Now, to start off with, I'm going to talk about there's a little bit more information about substrate development and development on Rust in general. See, it's something where most developers I've spoken with, they're aware of the Rust development language, but it's not typically at the top of people's lists. From what I've heard, and this is just feedback from the community at large, I've heard that Rust is seen as being more challenging compared to perhaps a Python or a Java, as well as because it's meant for more low-level code, that it's something where some people just don't find as exciting. They think it's a bit more like C++ or C#, where it's primarily used for legacy code. So I wanted to take a moment and just talk a little bit more about the underlying framework behind Polkadot and ultimately Kylin/Pichiu as well, and to talk about this amazing opportunity that's happening within the Rust development space. So similarly to how, I guess that was maybe 5 years ago-ish, that there was this real big boom of Python because of the data science industry, and that's been amazing. There's been a ton of technological innovations that have come out from that in terms of scientific computing, as well as just data science in general, bringing data science applications to the masses through interesting technologies such as automated machine learning. Now, with Rust, where that really comes in is while a lot of software, I'd say the majority of software, especially when we're talking about fintech, it's mostly built on C++ and C#. And these systems, while they're extraordinarily robust as a result of the way that they're built on these low-level programming languages, they're also a bit tough to maintain. And it's the maintenance of this legacy code that makes it so expensive, while also there's a smaller supply of developers within this space in a language that, and this is just a feedback that I've received, it's just not innovating as fast. Then enter Rust. Rust is the solution to being able to kind of challenge that foundation that is there by C++ and C#. Rust is set up to be easier to use in C++ and C#. I myself am a junior developer. I've learned Python. I can do some basic front-end web dev, and also I'm learning Rust. And as a beginner developer, I can say I like Rust a lot because it makes it to where you can take those, I guess, more technical things within code, such as memory allocation or parallel processing, and you're able to more easily embed it into whatever you're building. Though it's not just the ease of use that really makes Rust a exciting programming language. It's the fact that it's memory safe, and that when it comes down to the way that the system compiles, while yes, it can be quite a process wrestling with the compiler, the fact is once the code passes, it's secure, it's safe. Rust makes it to where it is, in fact, difficult to be able to run code that isn't safe. And by nature, this is a significant difference over something such as Solidity, where it's a bit horrifying when diving into the code, but there's a lot of ways to develop a Solidity smart contract incorrectly in a way that it can either be easily front-run by bots or an assortment of various different data privacy concerns that can happen. On the other hand, using a system like Rust, while yes, it can take a bit longer to code because the language is a bit more complex than Solidity or Python, it's something where in the long run, there's a lot less maintenance required on it because you're able to know and rest assured that the code is going to be able to run. On top of that, when we're talking about Substrate, which is a framework of Rust built by the team at Parity with Gavin Wood, they've built it to be modular, almost like a series of Legos being stacked on top of each other, where there are templates provided for most aspects of blockchain development. And because these are already pre-programmed, as a Substrate developer, it's more a matter of understanding your business use case or your application use case, understanding what parameters could be adjusted to produce the optimal solution. And then on top of that, knowing that because it's built on Polkadot or Kusama, same setup, you know that the security and the validator army is there behind the software, behind the blockchain network. That way your focus can be on the end application. So in our case, what we're building on Kylin is the data warehouse and data marketplace, where developers can build and connect whatever types of applications that they would like, either through the API endpoint, which will allow them to upload their data sets or connect their applications to the marketplace, or by being able to create Substrate native oracles and reporting systems and various other data solutions directly into Substrate Rust. So that way it's able to interoperate with the entire Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. So if you take something like an oracle that is, let's say, built on Substrate, let's say it's on Kusama, and if that's pulling data from other Kusama projects, it's going to have not only the fastest data access, it's also going to have the most accurate because it's coming directly from the source. On top of that, because of the memory safety of the programming language, it makes it to where a developer can run their code with much greater confidence, knowing that it's going to be able to stand the test of time more easily, allowing them to focus on better efficiency and optimization of the application. So I know this is super duper nerdy, and it's just something where I wanted to take some time to talk a little bit more about why people are excited about it. Not to mention, if you just Google the average developer salary of a experienced Rust dev, the numbers quickly exceed 6 figures after just a couple of years of experience. So it's one of those situations where there's a massive opportunity right now within the blockchain space that's open, I would say, to all developers, whether they come from a background of massive experience or if they're very passionate and are excited to learn. Right now is an opportunity where, as we're entering the end of the year and preparing for the next year, if you're somebody who's considered entering the blockchain space, or perhaps is looking for an adventure to be able to either work on part-time or maybe even transition into full-time, it's something where there are an abundance of opportunities available, even within the Kylin ecosystem and community alone, for developers, especially those who are excited to learn about Substrate Rust and to be one of the elite few who are becoming and gaining expertise in this exciting new framework.